Well, I think we will plan to get started, and it is a sincere pleasure to have everybody joining us for this webinar this afternoon in support of the CMVF3C and the charter signing that's taking place this afternoon. I know we will continue to have people joining us as the presentation progresses and then people have the opportunity to join. So happy for those of you who have taken the liberty of joining us right at the front end here. I'm Kevin Friese. I'm Assistant Dean of Students here at the University of Alberta and the co-lead on our military and veteran family connected campus initiative here at the University of Alberta. I'm very pleased to be co-presenting today with Amy Hunter from University of Regina. Amy, I'll let you do a very brief introduction to yourself.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks, Kevin, for doing this alongside me and presenting this information. I'm Amy Hunter, and I'm the Senior Advisor to the Provost at the University of Regina. And I'm also on the core committee of the CMVF3C.
Great. And I also want to introduce Phillip Sevigny from the University of Alberta. Phillip?
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks. I'm Phil. I'm an associate prof in the Faculty of Education at the U of A, and I've had the pleasure of working with the CMVF3C since its inception.
Great. So throughout today's webinar, Phillip has kindly offered to monitor our chat. We do have time set aside at the end of today's webinar for any questions and comments from attendees. So feel free to drop questions into the chat, or you can hold your questions and comments until the question period, and you're welcome to unmute yourself at that time and speak up. We will be recording today's session, so just a heads up about that so that you're aware. And for today, we have an agenda that we've set out with obviously introductions right now. The purpose of this webinar today is really to provide a primer for what the Canadian Military and Veteran Family Connected Campus Consortium is and why now is the time for the signing of the Principles Charter and the exciting work that's currently taking place at the national level in support of our military members and veterans who are completing academic programs at post-secondary institutions and working on their transition into civilian life with support from post-secondaries, from Canadian Armed Forces, Veteran Affairs Canada, and other community partners that are an important part of that transition process. We're going to go through some of the principles and objectives that are guiding the work of the CMVF3C and also talk briefly about the partners and governance model that is so important to guiding the CMVF3C initiative. And then we'll close out the main part of the webinar with a bit of an idea of the future planning that's taking place and the purpose of this charter signing. And then we'll have time for questions at the back end. Following the webinar itself, then we will move and transition into the actual charter signing event that's taking place in Ottawa today. So welcome to those of you who are attending from Ottawa. And for those of you who are joining us virtually, this virtual Zoom call will just automatically transition into that event. So there's no need to transition or switch between events. So we're going to start briefly with a video that comes out of the symposium work that the CMVF3C and the Minister of Veteran Affairs had hosted this past spring. And it provides a very nice opener to today's webinar and conversation. It's a pleasure to welcome you all this morning to this very important symposium, bringing together members of our Canadian Armed Forces, members of Veterans Affairs Canada, members of our post-secondary institutions, and partners within the greater community. We are very pleased to welcome you all here today.
Our military members, veterans, and their families show incredible commitment to our nation, and are integral to post-secondary and civilian communities.
What we're trying to do and what we're aiming at as a consortium is going to help students, is going to help those who are serving and have served, hopefully to move on to new careers, to gain new skills, to have great educational experiences.
It's inspiring that we're doing this, the opportunity to network and see how much support and willingness there is to try something more for these students.
I definitely think that the relationships that we're making right now will help us to improve the service that we're offering, ultimately.
I think the biggest value is connection. It's connection of our institutions, it's connection of learners with the right people in the different institutions they need supports from, and it's making that visible.
But it's a hub where post-secondary can network with military, and not just one institution, multiple institutions, and we can have provincial government and federal government layered on as well.
There's so much more we can be doing in higher education to facilitate the transition from military service to life as a civilian.
A lot of us are kind of anxious about getting out. And, you know, if we don't know what we're getting out to do, how do you land where you really should be? What work needs to be done to help identify what skills, what training, what, you know, the background of folks leaving the CAF, what does that look like? And where should they go in the civilian world?
We're better than higher education to turn that into a place where veterans can come and figure out who it is they want to be and where do they belong since they're no longer in the military.
We invite you, for the sake of the well-being of our members, of the members of those who are transitioning, of their families, of the institutions, of our Canadian society. We heard from Captain Navy Nick Gauthier that now is the time for us to shine and pull together as a community to demonstrate our resilience and our capacity to work together for the greater good of our Canadian society, but also the greater good of our world.
I think having all the right partners at the table with the support of CAF and VAC and with Suzette and her amazing team and the research-informed information that we can take forward into our supports and services, that's what's really going to help us move forward into the next stage.
So the work of the CMVF3C has been a project that has been underway for over 2 years now, with participation from the Canadian Armed Forces, Veteran Affairs Canada, members of government, and post-secondary partners, as well as community partners. And that work started very much at a grassroots level that, as you'll see, has been in response to work that's happening internationally, along with a drive to see this work grow and provide support for a centralized model of connection between those partners that are supporting military members and veterans who are completing their academic careers and also transitioning into civilian life. So why a consortium and why now? Well, as this quote indicates from our Prime Minister, Canada's veterans and their families have given so much to this country and continue to give so much, and we need to make sure that they are appropriately supported. The Government of Canada is investing to support the well-being of veterans and facilitate their seamless transition into civilian life. And the CMVF3C is seen to be a cornerstone of that work and very important to ensuring the success and support for military members and veterans across Canada. We have some additional quotes here from some of our partners from across the CMVF3C and just expressing why this work is so important. And as you can see, when we talk about the CMVF3C, there is a diversity of post-secondary members that are represented and contributing to that work, along with the very diverse membership of CAF and VAC to ensure that this initiative is successful. So there's some foundational reasons why the CMVF3C is currently at a nexus in terms of its importance in this work. It's recognized that the core of what post-secondary institutions, CAF and VAC, do in supporting military members and veterans in their transition to civilian life entails setting them up for success in their careers, in life in general. There is certainly at this particular moment a political and social will to see that those who give so much to our countries are set up for success. And it's also recognized that there have been and continue to be challenges with the distribution of evidence-informed support for military and veteran members and ensuring that they have access to information that is appropriately informed and hopefully best practice. There's an opportunity through the CMVF3C to interface across institutions and with CAF, VAC, Government of Canada, provincial governments as well, along with partners doing this work at the international level. And certainly the consortium is the opportunity to tie that together and ensure that there's a synchronicity in how that work is being done in a good way. The international consortium is already built and includes members from around the world that are collectively working on supporting those who are transitioning. And so this national network at the Canadian level provides a very timely interface and platform for interfacing and connecting with those other members that are doing work in this space. A centralized body can easily interface with the Canadian Armed Forces and Veteran Affairs Canada and ensure that there's a coordinated approach to how we are supporting partners that are working on supporting members, military members and veterans. And it also ensures that there's strategic alignment with the Military Transition Engagement and Partnership, or MTEP, group, as well as the National Resource Directory. So there's a collective opportunity that is addressed and tied to the CMVF3C. In terms of the vision that the steering committee and CMVF3C membership have been developing, the CMVF3C is recognized as a key national enabler for leveraging post-secondary education as a transforming force for those who may serve, who are serving, and for those who have served, and for their families, given their important role in the transition of members and veterans. The mission that the CMVF3C has been developing is really focused on creating a consortium that fosters the ongoing collaboration and knowledge translation among post-secondaries, CAF, VAC, and other partners to support organizations and ensure associated community partners are committed to advancing military and veteran family connected arenas here in Canada as well as internationally. And there are 6 core principles that the consortium has been developing and that its work is founded on. And that's really ensuring that ensuring member and veteran and family centric approaches are incorporated into that work, that all of our work is collaborative in nature and coordinated, that it's evidence-based and continually working to ensure the best practice is being brought forward, that it recognizes the equity, diversity, inclusion of members and our community, and that those principles are shared in the work that's being done, that we are culturally competent, and that work is trauma-informed and strength-based. The objectives that the CMVF3C is committed to focus on growing, promoting, and sustaining the CMVF3C initiative overall and ensuring that it's not just here today and gone tomorrow. There is an intent and a will to see this sustained through the long term. Certainly, we're working to build a community of practice that allows for that knowledge translation and sharing of information that is important to supporting those in the military as well as our veterans, and ensuring that we're continually broadening those partnerships and asking who is at the table and who needs to be at the table. We're working to facilitate access to shared knowledge and creating a national data repository for information that can help to benefit CAF, VAC, post-secondaries, and other partners, and making sure that that information is also being coordinated and shared with our international partners. And we're working to facilitate knowledge translation back to those who need this information to be able to successfully build and sustain programming for the support of members and veterans. Certainly supporting post-secondaries in becoming more military, veteran, and family connected is a cornerstone of the CMVF3C initiative. And we're working to engage with key knowledge brokers, policymakers at all levels, as well as leaders and those with lived experience and family members and others to ensure that we're coordinating our efforts and minimizing duplication of efforts. Now I'm going to hand it to Amy to continue on through the presentation.
Perfect. So this is just a slide that illustrates some of our consortium partners, and really the key to this is the collaborative nature of the CMVF3C, and as Kevin mentioned, always thinking about who is already participating and who we need to bring on board. And this initiative brings together a really wide range of partners, our community partners, veterans and their families. Of course, their involvement ensures that we adopt a more holistic approach to support and addressing diverse needs. There's also some key stakeholders, including VAC and CAF and the post-secondary institutions. These are really the members that will drive forward the work that's happening through the consortium. And then advocacy groups and third-party partners are also crucial to the ecosystem and offering resources and supports that will help those who are continuing on their journey. So as we work through this, as well as actively engaging, as Kevin mentioned, with our international partners and researchers, it's just important to highlight the significance of how this is a collaborative and how these partnerships can't happen with just one group, that it is really a team effort on this one. If we also turn our attention here to kind of the connection between the Canadian Armed Forces and the CMVF3C, it's important to see the crucial role that post-secondary institutions play in assisting military members and veterans as they transition into academic environments. And PSIs are dedicated to creating supportive pathways that facilitate this transition. Many are already offering tailored resources, mentorship programs, specialized services, and many other supports to help military members and veterans adjust to student life. But it's also important to emphasize the unique value that military and veteran members bring to our campuses, how their diverse experiences and leadership skills enhance our classrooms and enrich our campus as a whole. They bring perspectives that are shaped by service and resilience, and they really do contribute to a vibrant academic community. So again, it's a give and take. It's about this collaboration, and it's about having everybody at the table to share their experiences, and on the research side to share the evidence-informed research. So this collaboration also supports CAF and VAC in some of their mission and vision as well. And it can also directly support recruitment and retention goals and emphasize the value of academic training for military members, not just as they're transitioning out, but while they are serving as well. This is some information from VAC about the National Veterans Employment Strategy, and this strategy has a primary goal to ensure that veterans experience a smooth transition to the labor market after their service, with the aim of helping them find opportunities for meaningful employment in careers of their choice. And so, of course, post-secondary partners can play a vital role in supporting this goal. And the CMVF3C is committed to providing these clear pathways for veterans as they transition into the workforce through the post-secondary institutions. And an important element of this strategy is the recognition that academic training serves as a stepping stone towards these employment opportunities. And as we equip members and veterans with the necessary skills and knowledge through the post-secondary education, we empower them to pursue successful careers and ensure that they have the best possible chance at finding fulfilling work after their service. And of course, this includes all our PSIs, not just universities, but also colleges, training institutes, other organizations in our communities. So as I just mentioned, I talked a bit about pathways, and this is one of the steps that the CMVF 3C has already taken to promote these pathways and to help share the knowledge through our website and our knowledge mobilization hub. And these are a valuable resource, and they are available on the CMVF3C Alberta Toolkit, which is ab.mvf3c.ca. We can share the links at the end of this presentation, but these are open resources for anybody who would find them beneficial. They're designed for, the first one you can see is designed for members, then for military and veteran connected campuses. There's provincial and national pathways. And although we don't have a nice graphic there yet for international pathways, as Kevin mentioned, there is a lot of work being done on the international side, and Suzette and others from the consortium are already actively engaged at this level to bring our information forward to help the collaboration there. All right, and Kevin also touched on MTEP, my trusted support network, but one of the elements that CMVF3C has been working on is playing a crucial role in guiding institutions, PSIs, as they move from MVF neutral to MVF friendly and ultimately to MVF ready. And this provides a bit of a framework that empowers institutions to implement effective strategies that are specifically tailored to the needs of military and veteran students. And just, I guess, an example from my own institution, when I started on this project, my institution, we didn't have any of this in place, and it was only me, only a part of my job working on this. So having the support of the consortium, just to have the experiences from the other institutions, from the U of A and the U of M and otherwise who have already taken steps toward this, really helped us to just even take the next step to just be able to feel like we belonged in this space and say, okay, we are going to be able to do something to help students. And then you take the next step and eventually you make it to MVF friendly, right? So it's a work in progress, but it really is a community that can help support that. And of course, with the support of CAF and VAC and MTEP and joining the NRD, these are all elements of that the consortium is able to bring together, especially for those of us who weren't operating fully in this space before. And as you know, this presentation, this webinar, is a precursor to a very important event happening today at 4 p.m. Eastern in Ottawa, and that's the signing on of the CMVF3C Guiding Principles. And at this event, we've asked post-secondary institutions and other associated community partners to be invited to sign on to our Guiding Principles document, which hopefully you've all seen, and I think that Kevin has shared in the chat, and also to review the terms of reference for the consortium. And basically what this really is that by signing on to these institutions, they are confirming their support for the mission, vision, and principles that Kevin went through earlier, and pledging to work collaboratively towards our shared objectives. So this event really marks a significant step in solidifying our commitment to the collaboration and to supporting military and veteran students. And your involvement underscores our collective dedication to fostering a supportive environment. And I would encourage you to stay on the line to attend the event. And I really look forward to seeing you all there. And thank you so much for participating today and during our monthly meetings and otherwise.
Great. Thank you, Amy. Uh, that is the end of our formal presentation for this webinar. And Amy and I are now happy to open this up for any questions or comments from attendees here today. As Amy mentioned, Phil has kindly shared the links to the guiding principles form for those of you who may need access to it. And we will be sharing this presentation with attendees following the end of the webinar here today. So feel free, if you have questions or comments that you would like to make in regards to the CMVF3C and this work, you can drop them into the chat now, or feel free to raise your hand, and happy to have a conversation. Yeah, I see a question here from, or a question from Heather with regards to talking a little bit more about the international partners, talking about members of the Allied military coming to PSIs in Canada. So there is, that's a great question. There is an international organization that is being led by some of our partners in the Allied forces in Australia at the moment, with membership from other Allied regions. And the work that they're doing isn't specific to members coming to Canada to study necessarily, but is really about creating space for Allied countries that are supporting military members and veterans to share their experiences, their practices in setting up support programming within their countries, both at the forces level and in the post-secondary and community realm, to support members of the military and veterans. So that international organization provides a platform for webinars, for symposia, and the sharing of best practice. And through that, allows for connection between countries that are looking to expand the way that they are supporting and working with members and veterans. Amy, anything to add to that, or Phil?
I don't think so. I think the interesting piece of this is that the international consortium actually existed before we've, formalized our CMVF3C, our Canadian consortium. So this is a really important, like today is so important to this step to formalize our national consortium so that we can really fully participate. Not that we hadn't been participating, but that in a formalized kind of governance way, we can participate in the international consortium as well.
Other questions or comments? Also happy for those of you, I recognize a number of individuals who have been participating in the work of the CMVF3C. If there's anything you would like to comment on or add to, feel free to put your hand up and do so.
Hey, Kevin and Amy, it's Michael from Athabasca. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sound great, Michael.
Yeah, perfect. No, I just wanted to say thank you both for your leadership on this at the provincial level, and then bringing us through to this afternoon's event. I'm working diligently here in the basement, putting together briefing notes and whatnot to bring Athabasca on board as a signature of the guiding principles. So I'm hoping to have that wrapped up really soon. I think it's a great initiative, long overdue, and really happy to have been able to participate thus far, and looking forward to doing it into the future. So thank you both.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate the kind words, and really pleased to hear that you're moving forward with your institution on this as well. So support is sincerely appreciated. Suzanne, great to see you.
Great to see you too, Kevin and Amy. Phil, great to see you. I just want to say I'm Suzanne Triance Wright, and for those who don't know me, I actually spent just shy of 20 years working with Veterans Affairs as a frontline worker and as a service agent, case manager, and then ultimately managing the Veterans Affairs office at CFB Edmonton. But I had the greatest honor of being part of the core committee when U of A initially rolled out their military veteran friendly campus project, working on developing the toolkit that would then roll out to Campus Alberta. And the amount of work that I've seen in the last 3 years has been just overwhelming to see the amount of commitment, having VAC and CAF at the table, and a lot of their affiliate partners, and just to see the amount of things that are happening. Amy, Suzette, Phil, Kevin, I can't express enough gratitude on behalf of the clients that have always been the population I loved working with, and not just those that were releasing, which was predominantly the clients that I worked with, transitioning from their service with CAF. Most often the clients I worked with were medical releases, and just watching their desperate need to find a new sense of identity, a new sense of purpose, and how they could give back to society, how they could support their families when they left CAF. And to watch the struggles that they faced adapting initially from what had been their CAF culture, their military culture that they were very familiar with, and then moving to a culture, the civilian culture, which was so very different. And then those that jumped in to pursue post-secondary, and again, a third culture that required huge adjustment and adaptability. And to have campuses that could welcome them and could see what their needs were and could extend and let them know that they were there, supported, that people actually wanted them there, and that they were being well received and could feel welcomed on those campuses. For most, I too returned to school at a much later age. And so going into post-secondary as a mature student, I understood a lot of the challenges that they faced and a lot of the different perspectives that they brought into the classroom and that maturity that they're able to bring to the classroom. And so I want to say to all those that have worked so diligently on this project, I have the utmost gratitude for what you're doing. I wish to continue to stay involved, and I will continue to do so however U of A sees fit, that I might be able to support within the national consortium. But just to say the amount of work, it's unimaginable, the amount of steps. And I just hoped and prayed in 2021 we would one day be here, and we are. And that is so exciting. I just needed to share. That just made my day. I can hardly wait to watch that signing. So thank you. Thank you all who are here and participating.
Well, and thank you, Suzanne, for the support that you provide to members and veterans, and all of the work that you've done in this space. And I think it is very demonstrative of one of the elements we were talking about during the presentation, which is, again, the importance of those partnerships. When we first started this work, it was very much evident that post-secondaries, community partners, CAF, VAC, D&D, and others were struggling to figure out how best to interface. And a lot of the work was happening in very small pockets when it came to how to support military members and veterans. And so one of the things I think is so exciting about this is that it's providing a platform and a centralized hub where all of those important pockets of work can be brought together, and those with lived experience can ensure that the work that's happening is being informed by that lived experience, by the knowledge that partners and others can bring to the table, and really, start to work to amplify that in a way that's going to be meaningful and sustainable. So thank you. I'm giving it the school teacher pause just to be sure.
Well, if pausing, I'm going to jump in for just one more thought that I'd like to share. And that is, I also have an eldest son who serves in the Navy out of Halifax. And so we have many perspectives in my household and in my life in serving those who serve for us. And one of the pieces is that I often hear the respect that the Canadian military receives when they're overseas and for their service, as well as on domestic operations. And I listen to the challenges that they face, both getting into the military and then transitioning out of the military. And I see this as one of those absolutely pivotal times in history where Canada has the ability, through this particular consortium, to be a world leader, to be a national leader, an international leader in being able to demonstrate what can actually happen when groups come together and work together at this level. And I think the impact that it has on all families, when we look at the number of people that have served over time in our country and all of their families and all of their children and the continuous generation after generation cycle that follows, there has always been a large gap, in my opinion, and this consortium itself is the first step in filling that gap, but also doing it on the world stage, which allows us to be able to model how things could and should be moving forward. So that's the only piece I wanted to add. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Suzanne. For those of you who have not yet had the pleasure of joining some of the CMVF3C meetings that are taking place and events and activities that are underway, please feel free to drop your name and information into the chat or contact Amy or Phil or myself directly. We'll move over to our contact information here. You can email the CMVF3C at ualberta.ca email address, and happy to get you connected to those conversations. We recognize that many people are doing this work in different ways and in different communities and pathways. So we welcome you to those tables and those conversations to learn more and to be able to share your expertise and your experience, and then from that be able to give back to you as well. Also, in this slide deck, you will find the links to the Principles Charter that have also been shared through the chat. And we have also included the CMVF3C website just for you to be able to access after the fact. And of course, you can always Google it as well. And Amy had also mentioned the toolkit and resources that have been developed as a part of a research project that the University of Alberta was leading under Suzette Phillips and our team here at the U of A, but with support and input from military and veteran members, as well as other members at post-secondary institutions and partners in the community here in Alberta. And that resource toolkit is available to all individuals publicly, and so the link to that toolkit is available. You'll find on that site that it includes streams that are relevant for policymakers, as well as streams that are most important for students themselves, and streams for post-secondaries and partners who are looking to establish military and veteran family connected programming at their campuses. So you're welcome to access that toolkit and glean from it what might be most useful to you in your work. So with that in mind, this link will continue to be live and will be the link that at 4 o'clock will be used for the charter signing. So I invite you to stay on. You're welcome to turn your camera off and work away or take a break and be back here for 4 o'clock. And at that time, the formal charter presentation will get underway. So thank you very much for your time today. I'm going to look one last time to Amy and Phil for any last comments and any other guiding information before we tie up our webinar for today.
Just a huge thank you to everyone for coming out and also for all the work you do on other days and behind the scenes, and just appreciate you all a lot.
Yeah, and I will also echo that thanks for the for all the work that has been done off of various corners of desks for a very long time, and yeah, I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Great. All right, thank you all very much for attending today and making space for this important conversation, and we will look forward to resuming with the formal presentation at 4 o'clock. Take care, everybody.